perfect world? We can never reach a perfect world. Never. My name is Plato. I'm an ancient Greek philosopher and one of the founding fathers of Western philosophy. I was a student of Socrates who told me that the government should be just and open to consider multiple perspectives. I then passed my knowledge in philosophy down to my buddy over here, Aristotle. But back to a perfect world. Like I said, we can never reach such a thing. I believe that the perfect world exists in a kind of alternate reality that we can never physically obtain. All of the objects we see and characteristics we give them exist in perfect forms in the real world. What we see and perceive in our physical reality are just shadows and projections of these perfect forms and essences. Let's take a closer look at some examples. This apple, what really makes it an apple? I would say appleness makes it an apple. It sounds kind of silly, but it's true. Let's look at another one. What makes a wise man wise? I would say wisdom. We can never really see wisdom or appleness. We can just see how the perfect world has projected it into our physical reality, through apples and through people and objects. The only reason why we have the ability to think about these perfect forms and essences is because we were once one of them. Before our souls connected with our physical body, they existed in the perfect and real world. This connection allows us to have an understanding of the perfection we need to work towards. If we use the idea of perfect forms as a template for our reality, it will allow us to strive for greatness and get the closest to perfection as possible. But enough about me. Let's see what these other guys have to say about a perfect world.
Good evening, friends. My name is John Locke. I'm an early English philosopher who was alive between 1632 to 1704. I resided in England mostly, but I influenced many American things. What am I all about? I'll show you. Life, liberty, and property. I follow many ideas of the early philosopher Aristotle, who I had the pleasure of meeting thanks to you guys, and my thoughts revolve around rationality. I believe that the government is meant to promote public good and the three natural rights: life, liberty, and property. If a ruler does not promote these natural rights, a ruler can be removed. This is according to the theory of divine right of kings. This theory was rubbish anyways. It basically had no backbone and said that God chose our ruler. How could you say this? That means if you challenged a ruler, you would challenge God. So that's why I wrote my theory and I challenged it. My ideas widely influenced American history. I influenced many of the founders of the United States of America, and my ideas about natural law, social contract, religious toleration, and the right to revolution were used in the American Revolution and the American Constitutions. I sadly never got to see America though, but from what you tell me, maybe I should be glad. Anyways, what was the question you asked me? Oh yeah, a perfect world. I think a perfect world would revolve around a government or a ruler that promotes these three natural rights that I keep rambling on about. This would mean that all individuals have the equal right to life, liberty, and property. As long as we have these, we are already living in a perfect world. Well, that's all I'm on about. I hope you enjoyed my introduction. Now, let's get to these lame-o philosophers.
Hi, I'm Aristotle. I was asked to sit in this room and give a brief introduction before I debate with a bunch of philosophers I don't even know about because I've been dead for so many years. I was born in 384 BCE and I died in 322 BCE. A little bit about me. I lived in Macedonia before my father died and I moved to Athens, and I was taught by Plato. Pretty cool dude. Very old, but I I was really known for some of my best work, which was biology, botany, chemistry, ethics, history, logic, metaphysics, rhetoric, philosophy of mind, philosophy of science, physics, poetics, political theory, psychology, and zoology. I also invented a field of formal logic, which is, if I do say so myself, probably one of the best things ever invented. I then began teaching, which may not be surprising to some of you. I taught Alexander the Great, absolute legend. He is that guy. However, I did influence this guy named John Locke. That's all I have to say about him. But more of an idealist. I know a bunch of the philosophers here are realists. Basically, an idealist means that the essence of things are all metaphysical or universal. So reality for me is only logic or mental in nature. It's just not tangible anywhere else. So I don't know, for example, you might think that's real and I might perceive something's real. I did end up writing around 30 works. So if you like what I'm saying, go read some. If I do say so myself, pretty good. But I guess I'm supposed to be talking about the perfect world. So in my perfect world, we cannot live alone. There's people, we live in a society. It's just, that's how it works. But we have to live well. We have to get along. We have to put our differences aside. And the man has to be at the top and the woman just has to be at the bottom in society. Not at the bottom, but just underneath the men. We are social creatures. We need to be together. We have to live with our friends in society. It greatly increases our chances of having a good life. And we need a government. I know Locke has mentioned we need a government. If it's not a good government, we're not going to be happy. So we need a good government. We have to keep our promises, tell the truth, return what we borrow, do not steal, do not kill, do not injure, pay off your debts, don't interfere with others. Those were like my main sorts of points for this debate I'm supposed to be going into, but this practically sums up what I want to say, so.
I am Thomas Haupt. I reject what is known as the scientific method and reflect materialistic views on the world. I believe that all phenomena in the universe, without exception, can be explained in terms of motions and interactions of material bodies. I do not believe in the soul, or in the mind as separate from the body, or in any other incorporeal or metaphysical entities in which other writers have believed. Instead, I see human beings as essentially machines, with even their thoughts and emotions operating according to physical laws and change of cause and effect, action and reaction. A perfect world consists of fear. In order to prevent constant war, people fear one another's reactions, behavior, and intentions. These all create a running society. People must avoid evil and desire good based on emotions and behavior. When it comes to human nature, I define good as what people want and evil as what they want to avoid, at least in the natural world. These concepts serve as a foundation for explaining a wide range of emotions and actions. For example, hope is an expectation of achieving for obvious good, whereas fear is the realization that such an obvious good may not be possible. However, I concede that this concept is only valid if we believe men to be free from limitations of law and society. Everyone must honor one higher up in order to keep conflict from occurring and to maintain peace. I'm attempting to define the reasonable foundations upon which a civic society could be built that would not be vulnerable to internal ruin. As a result, I outline how to reduce dispute, disagreement, and factionalism within society, whether between the state and the church, rival parties, or competing philosophies. Any type of orderly administration, in my opinion, is preferable to civil conflict. As a result, I urge everyone in society to be subject to one absolute. A perfect world must consist of these things in order to be defined so.
Now that the boring men have finally finished with their debuts, let me get the opportunity to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Charlotte Gilman. Perkins is the middle name if you really wanted to know. I was born in Connecticut, United States, July 3rd, 1860. and I am a lecturer, a humanist, and novelist. I've come up with many certain theories throughout my lifetime, but to sum it up and not bore you, my two main ones would be that women are seen as completely inferior beings to men, and altogether, ultimately, we should be given rights to our own reproductive systems and our own bodies in general. I've also written many books on this subject, my main one being The Yellow Wallpaper. Now, I completely agree with the control over body aspect of my statement, but what I do not agree with is that us women are seen as inferior beings to men. And I completely disagree with this concept, as would any other woman, and still to this day I'm fighting for change. Now, the question that was asked of me earlier is, what would I see my ideal world as? First of all, let's keep something between me and you. I would never let any of these men run anything in my world. They would never stand to have a chance of placement if I was the one ruling it. My world completely consists of women running it. Now, you probably think that's a little crazy, but womankind is already so underdeveloped as it is, and improvement is necessary to prevent the deterioration of the human race completely. Not to brag, but we are smarter, stronger, and generally could run the show a lot smoother. Giving general independence is what will lead to freedom for women and making them equal to men. Like I say, everything is what it seems, but change is what really matters to make a difference in this world. These simple things can lead to the perfect idealistic world. Now, unfortunately, I do have to hand it back to the men, but I hope you appreciated what I had to say.
Now guys, about the last election, how do we all feel about the government?
Well, I don't really care who the government is. I just care that they promote the three natural rights: life, liberty, and property.
Well, I believe there should only be one dictator that everybody follows in order to create peace and prevent conflict.
Well, personally, I believe that the government should be run by women and women only, as they will make the difference in the world.
No. I don't think a woman should be in power. Only a man. That's a man's job. But on the other hand, I really don't care who's in power of the government, as long as the government is making all the people in society happy and healthy.
The perfect version of government exists in an alternate reality that we can't really see or perceive. But if we strive for that perfection form, then the government will be great.
What are you talking about? Everything is just real. It's here. This wall is a wall.
I totally agree. I think everything in reality is exactly as it seems.
I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, a chair is a chair and a wall is a wall, but if I perceive that chair as a flower, there's no thing up for a debate for that. And if I believe the wall is a chair, same thing.
No, because I think everything in life is what it is. Everything in life matters, and women should be on the top.
I get you guys all have your opinions, but honestly, I'm the best. I influenced the most out of the world. I influenced the founders of the US Constitution.
Well, if you think that you should rule everything, then I think you're gonna like my point, because I have encouraged others to owe obedience to whoever is most in power, and that is what will cause us peace in the world and get rid of any conflict.
Guys, you're both wrong. I'm obviously the best and most influential. I mean, look at all the work I've done. I'm very clearly one of the founders of Western philosophy. I mean, my student Aristotle, look how much he's affected. That's all because of me, not you.
Well, even though you taught Aristotle, I took his ideas and I brought them into modern philosophy and brought them out into the world. Without me, his ideas would be scrapped.